Welcome to the Embodied Enlightenment podcast, your podcast for a healthier, happier, more soul-fueled you. I'm your host, Carrie Merriam, here to guide you to reclaim your power to live your ultimate life. Your journey to expanded conscious awareness begins right now. Welcome to another episode of Embodied Enlightenment. Thank you so much for being here, for listening and watching alongside one of my favorite people in the world, Amelie and Mettenheimer. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and today is so good because this woman holds my hand a lot in life, and it's always really important to have those people that will hold your hand, especially when talking about business and digital marketing. So I'm excited to kind of open up a conscious conversation around fear of technology, which I know a lot of us are facing, or maybe just even how to filter out the amount of choices there are when it comes to choosing the correct marketing implementation, not the strategy, but once you already have the strategy in place, how to then move forward and create the partnership with the technology.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh my gosh, yes, right? So why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself, maybe, to start, and kind of how the universe wants that to unfold.
Well, we'll see, right?
Yeah.
So as Carrie said, my name is Amelie, and I have been working for myself for almost 20 years now, which is
She hasn't aged a day.
which is pretty cool. And I've tried all sorts of different versions. So I started with the physical product business, and it was import and export and like all the marketing and sales, and it was really like I didn't know what I was doing, and I just kind of started, which was the best beginning to have. And then I moved more digital. I've done events, we've done breath work, we've done road trips, I've worked with celebrities, a little bit of everything basically in that regard. So marketing from all aspects, as well as getting yourself out there, the PR, the technical pieces behind it, traveling on top of all of that. So it's been pretty interesting and wild.
So you've had a lot of choices.
I've had a lot of choices.
So you can just give us the hack of what choices you've made that were good, not the ones that don't make those choices.
When it comes to choosing the right piece of technology or the right way of making a choice in general. So when it comes to technology, there's so many softwares and pieces of equipment you can have that do similar things. The truth is, always look at your budget, right? Start that. If you don't have $1,000 to spend on a product, then why are you trying to do that? And secondly, just pick one, right? I know. I'm the type of person who loves to read like the manuals and want to know all things, but let me do that for you, and then just come and say like, this is what I need and what can I try out? Because the truth is, you will never find a piece of software that will cover everything that you want to have or do. So either you then like pulling pieces from different sources, which can lead to a whole other level of overwhelming confusion, or you're always looking to find the next best thing. And picking just what industry leaders are doing doesn't necessarily mean that you will have the same success, or just because they're using Infusionsoft or Entreport, you will have that type of success because of that software.
I love that.
Yeah.
How would you define marketing?
Marketing is just getting the message out there. It is really sharing what it is that you do to provide brand recognition, right? It is knowing like, what does Apple do? It's computers and phones. That is marketing. It's not, all the stuff around it is a part of it, but it's also the core of it is people need to know what it is that you do.
I love it, getting your message out there.
Yeah.
And it's just those little things of like being more specific in your message and having that be really simple. I think with everything that is coming at us in every direction in our lives now, we almost think we need to be overcomplicated to compete in the marketplace. And I'm seeing this with yoga, right? Like with new teachers, they're like, I am going to throw everything in the sequence possible so people think that I'm special. I'm going to start with handstand, and then I'm going to go into Janu Shavasana, and then I'm going to go into forearm stand, and then I'm going to do the craziest flow. And it's like, no. Like, go back to the basics and keep it simple. And that's why I just wanted to hear what your definition of marketing is, because even the few opportunities that you've had to hold my hand where the technology can be really overwhelming, it's like, what's the easiest way just to get your message out there? So maybe picking a technology, just one to implement first, of getting the message out there, and then, okay, now that I have this, how can I get it out there a little bit more?
Well, it's that, but it's also like what works for you, right? If you're not comfortable speaking on a stage, then going on a roadshow isn't gonna help you get your product out there. If you are creating something that is maybe not physical, then why are you going to, like a showroom scenario? You have to find what works for the product, what works for you, the type of person that you are, and what feels comfortable. If you're constantly pushing yourself beyond what's comfortable to you, you're probably not doing a good job either. And that will also reflect back on your product, your brand, your company as something that maybe isn't quite aligned. So it's always a fine line between finding something that really works for you and works for what it is that you're trying to do.
So if people are brand new to marketing and they want to answer that question for themselves, what would you offer to them to start to figure out what would work for them?
Try it out.
Try it out.
Yeah, but
okay.
like basic try it out. Like, don't go and, for example, if you say I want to put out a course, start with a PDF, sell it via, I was going to say Gumtree and it's not Gumtree. Like Sendal or something like that, put it up on a splash page with a PayPal link. Like, just keep
I don't even know what a splash page is. Just
like a landing page.
Okay, a landing page.
Just keep it super, super simple, right? You don't need to go like crazy and extravagant. And for example, there was just a pretty heated discussion between about 300 students and a course that was taking place, and people were really upset because the course was about Instagram and learning all these different things, and she didn't choose a channel for the communication to take place on other than Instagram. And Instagram doesn't necessarily give the opportunity to have a real like in-depth conversation. It's very sort of, because of the nature of the platform, doesn't give you that opportunity. So students felt like they were missing out. So you want to consider that as well and saying, what am I trying to achieve with this thing that I'm doing, and how is it best to facilitate that? Is a Facebook group the answer? Maybe, or a Slack channel or something like that. So it's considering sort of what would that person want and how will they see the benefit to be able to have that conversation.
I love it. And maybe just start really small. Like, I love your idea of like, I mean, if you're like, what is a lead page, which I felt like a couple months ago, I'm like, what is a lead page or a landing page? Or it was like, I didn't even know that technology. Maybe just putting a PDF on your Facebook and seeing if people are interested in it.
And it's testing out, right? Because I mean, so it's almost easy to become flashy and exciting and to spend a lot of money to get things out there. But if people aren't interested in the content, you're not going to get that money back.
Yeah.
People will forgive maybe sort of, Canva style presentations or PDFs. And
Canva is a really great platform, Canva. She's throwing a lot of fancy words at us right now.
Stop me, because I don't even realize sometimes. And so Canva is a tool you can go to design graphics and ebooks and PDFs, and people will forgive seeing the same formatting or design over and over again, because the content is what matters, right? I will happily take a blank page with maybe just a heading on it and it has amazing content, than this tricked out PDF where I'm like, wow, I'm dazzled and sparkled, but the content is like, eh.
And I think what you said before is also like really key. It's the content plus the containment of space.
Yeah.
Because she's still helping me with my website that we're doing again, and I'm still learning about design and brand and creating like that authenticity, but people keep buying my products and people keep wanting to work with me, and it's, again, they forgive me for grammatical errors and, sometimes like these little technology glitches, but I've created a containment of space where they feel like they can connect with me and other individuals within that transformational experience as well as the content speaks for itself. So I think it's this combination of both, depending on what the product is.
It's that and expectations, right? So if you are putting out there saying, I'm doing a 10 module course, there'll be 1,000 videos and like playbooks or workbooks up the wazoo, and then there's one video and like a one-page PDF, people will be like, wait, that's not what I signed up for. And I think especially nowadays, managing expectations is even more important than before. It's because there's so much out there, right? And everyone's trying to compete against everybody else instead of focusing on the core of the content and, you know, trying to break it down. And then it's also getting feedback, right? What you may think is a great way to deliver it, which could be like breaking each section down into like mini videos. Others are like, no, I want one long video, and seeing what aids the delivery best.
I love that. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about someone that is ready to go out there in the world. They've tested their product and they want to start to create an email list, or they want to start to create a way to contain a community. What would be some advice that you can give them at that very beginning stage?
Containing a community also depends on the platform where your people are, right? So if your people naturally hang out on Facebook, a Facebook group may be the easiest.
How would you even know where your people are?
It depends on who your ideal client is.
Okay.
Right, if you say a 32-year-old, sometimes yoga practicing, book reading, professional, chances are she may be more on Instagram than on Facebook nowadays, or you know, they're on Snapchat. So you want to pick your channel based on where your ideal client is most likely to be hanging out.
No one's hanging out on Snapchat unless you're 13.
Well, Snapchat isn't really like a hanging out situation anymore. But you know, you've got Facebook, you've got people who do a lot of Pinterest, for example.
LinkedIn is a huge one right now.
Like it really depends on who that person is, right? If you're speaking to a 23-year-old who's just starting on their career path, they may not be on LinkedIn just yet, or not sure how to use it properly. If you're speaking to a 50-year-old, they're more likely to know more about LinkedIn than that. Facebook is a good one because everyone's kind of on Facebook. You know, it depends on how much they go. But you can also push your tribe to the channel you prefer. You could use something like Slack, where you can build your own community and open that up. You can use something like Mighty Networks, which is designed for communities, and have that as a platform. So it really depends on being there and then being present, so that people don't come in there and feel like it's crickets. So that's that part. And then list building and creating yourself, that's always a mix and a play between putting yourself out there, right? Being visible. If people don't know that you're there, they can't join your list or opt in or participate in your programs, as well as, you know, consciously putting out content. So just being a content machine that pushes out stuff without asking people to join a list or participate or download your freebie or content upgrade, people aren't going to do it because there's so much already out there.
I love it. And I think, you know, what's coming through within that message is it's okay to not do content every day. Like, it's okay to not be in it for the game of creating mass production and creating an increase in followers. But again, coming back to a space of service and going, if I create this content and one person reads it, and then I offer them to build a relationship with me by giving them, like the sale is the service, by giving them a task to do, like coming on board to my email list or taking the free product, then that's all you need to do. It doesn't matter if 25 people like that photo or 5,000 people like that photo, because you're just in it for the service. You're in it for the one person connection or the two, like, and that can happen within 25 people or 5,000. You still might only get that one or two people.
I think also the important thing to remember is those are humans.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's so easy to be like, oh, I got 10 likes. I'm like, those are 10 humans that actively clicked on that photo.
Some are aliens.
Sometimes. So, you know, if you see like 1,000 or 3,000 or whatever likes, those are humans that are engaging with that. And it's the same when it comes to a list or any of your products. Those are humans who are looking at the thing, they're thinking and feeling. And if you engage that part of it instead of like robotically trying to put things out there, that's what people respond to. If you put out sort of a new blog post every day and people see it, but they're like, well, yesterday was something completely different. It doesn't necessarily aid in the whole vision. People are highly suspicious nowadays. If something isn't quite right, then it's like, wait, what? So you want to make sure, you know, there's the 80-20 rule. Don't know if you've heard about that.
Yeah. I have.
Wow. So you want to create 20% of the time and be talking about it 80% of the time. So you could write one blog post a month and then talk about it every week or highlight a different piece of it. And rather have it be a juicy, content-y type of piece than fluff articles. There's so many fluff articles out there in the world where all it is trying to grab you through a flashy headline, and then it's like, yeah, I already know that there's no meat in that story.
I even know what that's called.
Oh yeah?
Clickbait.
Wow.
I feel like I'm learning.
But yeah, there's so much clickbait out there, and you know, like even newspapers and things like that, they're all trying to get their numbers up. For everyone, it's a numbers question. So I always like to look at it from a human perspective and saying, okay, we've got humans who are reading these articles, people who are investing their 5 minutes of that day into reading this piece of content. What would give them the biggest lesson? I don't mean like go brush your teeth. I mean like actual content, not just the stuff we already know.
I love it. It's so good.
But it's so easy to forget.
It's so easy to forget.
And it's so easy to get trapped in this whole like create because it's like it doesn't actually help you do anything.
And it's like almost the ego wants to jump in within that scenario.
Because, you know, there are a couple of people who come off as it's just me or myself doing this, who have a massive team behind them, right? They have 3 or 4 dedicated writers who are producing content all year round, and then this person just, you know, it's like, oh, today on my blog, and this is what I wrote. It's like, well, no, you didn't. You were busy doing other things. And, you know.
You're like, I followed your Instagram story.
I know you were not.
I know you were not writing.
So it's also finding the medium in there, right?
Yeah.
People can usually tell, or are getting better at telling now when things are actually true and possible versus this sort of fake, glorified Instagram version of life where you're like, well, it's not possible to create that amount.
Yeah, this projected illusion
on your own in that form.
Yeah. And you know, when I was talking to Katie, who's the social media expert, a couple podcasts ago, she referred to all social media and really all online as the 5th dimension. And it truly is. So I love thinking about this dimension that we're all playing in and how we show up within this new dimensional experience by recognizing that we are still exchanging human to human even though our physical bodies aren't in front of each other. And what are the implications and energetic given in response within that exchange, right? Because it's really easy to be not very nice. I was going to say the curse word. It's really easy to not be very nice on social media. It's really easy to judge on social media. It's almost like the people that drive their cars and like all of a sudden like you get like they're in their car and they're super aggressive because there's a windshield there. No, like we're still all acting.
It's that fake sense of security, right? Because I'm in my bubble, and sometimes I actually really worry about like the teenagers of today and the kids who will be teenagers soon, because they grow up in this false reality. It's almost as if people have taken what they used to write in their diaries of like, dear diary, I hate,
and just putting it on social media,
and just putting it out there for the world to see. Where I'm like, no. No, just keep it contained at home. Putting it on Twitter or on Instagram, like that is not where that thing belongs. It shouldn't even be.
Yeah, you don't have to tell everyone all of your fears and all of your struggles.
Yeah.
I almost feel like that's becoming a new marketing strategy in and of itself, which then makes that loses the authenticity and trust. Even if it's authentic to you, like what's your intention of telling everyone your biggest challenge, your biggest victory?
And it can come across as really weird.
Well, this is so interesting. What just kind of came through within that conversation is that we're playing in this 5th dimension, and it is this fake sense of security, like you said. So we feel like we can be super fucking open or super fucking closed, and there's not anywhere in between. And what keeps coming up every single day, I need to do a workshop on boundaries, is boundaries, people! Yes. For yourself, because anytime you are oversharing, like what's the intention? What's really the intention? And a lot of the time it's because we feel so deep, like such deep sadness, despair, darkness within ourselves that we overshare because we're looking outside of ourselves for fulfillment, right? We're still giving our power to the other. We want to receive. We want to do something to fill the void versus just going, no, I need to sit in this and I need to reclaim my power and I need to take full responsibility for my life and put up boundaries of how I show up, because anytime you're showing up and you're sharing too much, you are giving away your power. You truly are.
And I feel like it's also, that's what it has become. It's like you have to go on social and you have to kind of cry and do your thing and like air your dirty laundry to a degree.
No, you don't.
To attract the audience. But that's the common theme that
it's becoming this like marketing strategy.
Like everybody's jumping on board and like, it's not a good idea. And I admire the women, for example, who say I don't post my baby photos online.
Yes.
Because the truth is, yes, it may be great to see that baby and like some of my friends, I'm like, share a baby photo. And she's like, no, I don't want to put it on social. But I'm like, I get it. God knows what's going to happen to that photo.
I know.
Everything we put out there can find its way into places you may not want it to be. And that is her boundary in saying, no, that's not acceptable. My child didn't say yes to this. So when they're old enough, I can ask. Until then, they get sort of shown from the back or, like body parts or something like that. And just because everyone is doing it doesn't mean that you have to do that as well. And it's finding that place for you where you're happy sharing that. Because the truth is, everything, on the internet is there potentially forever. And if you're not comfortable with that coming back or your brand not reading about it, then don't talk about it.
And I think, too, there is an opportunity for you not to give your power away completely. You can, within those moments where you're really feeling vulnerable, journal on it. And then come into a place of like, okay, if I do share this story, share it from the perspective of what you learned from the story, not the story in and of itself, right? Because at that point, you're taking responsibility and you're stepping back into a place of service, and then you're going, well, I experienced this, so I was able to learn this specific thing, and now I want other people that could potentially have also experienced that thing get the insights that I was able to get from it. So you're taking responsibility for it. You're not overly sharing of everything, of all of the stickiness, and instead you're back in the intention. You're back in like, okay, so this happened. You don't have to go into all of the details, but the reason why I'm telling you is because this is what came out of it, and this is what the reflection piece was.
And that is what actually helps people.
Yeah, that's the authenticity.
Right? And that's, I think, where a lot of us get distracted, is because that's when you get the highest like clicks or looks or likes or whatever, is by going into the drama. It's like the reality TV version of whatever the story is, versus giving the lesson and saying, okay, this is what happened, this is where it went wrong, and now 10 days later, 3 weeks later, a month, a year later, this is what I learned out of that lesson, instead of being in the heat of the moment and saying things or sharing things that you may not want to have out there in that form in the future. And I think that's also where nowadays, if we look at news and what's happening all around us, is a lot of people are getting in trouble, right, on social media for posting things that are considered anti-Semitic or something like that from 8 years ago, where they quickly fired off a tweet and suddenly comes back to bite them in the ass. Because it's like, well, yeah, I said that, but it's not what I meant. It's not what the intention behind it was, or now it's to be getting taken out of context.
So good. So many juicy nuggets.
I try.
I love it. Okay, so if there's one message that you really want to get out into the world, what would that message be?
That's a tricky one.
Or it just comes, like you said. Right now, the message that wants to come out right now, because it can change tomorrow.
Life is short, and we all know that. But the truth is, we can plan and prepare and create whatever it is that we want to create. If we don't actually put it out there for the world to see and consume it, it's always going to be an idea and may even die before it's ready to be born, because it doesn't get born, and it just kind of disappears instead of doing it. So be brave enough to put it out there and see what happens.
Birth that product.
Yeah, just try it. It's an experiment, right? I'm working on a concept for a product. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna do it, and it may not be perfect, but at least I'll know like what is it like interesting enough? People want it, and if then you can go to the next level and make it more professional and cooler.
If people want to work with you, if they want to find out more about what you are going to give to the world, or just follow you on social and get inspiration around all of the incredibleness that you do, how could people do that?
Well, you can come find me on the web under justaskameli.com or on Instagram and Facebook also under justaskameli.
And we'll put that in the comments. And what products? What's happening with your products?
Happening with the products? Well, for the digital product, I have something called Momentum Mastery, which I personally think is pretty bomb-ass because it gives you 90 days of accountability by doing one thing and only one thing.
Ooh. Do you get to pick it, or do you tell us what it is?
I tell you what it is.
Oh God.
And it's a one email you send per week.
Okay.
And the success rate and productivity and getting your shit out of the door is insane. So go check that out, Momentum Mastery, if you're interested in that.
Okay, and that's on your website. Yeah. Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you go over and give us some love, share this episode, as well as like, comment, and review. Until next week, this has been Embodied Enlightenment.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao. I'm Carrie Merriam, and you've been listening to the Embodied Enlightenment podcast. You can follow Embodied Enlightenment on Instagram or join the private Facebook group as well. You can also follow me, Carrie Merriam, on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you've liked this podcast, please go over to iTunes or YouTube and comment, subscribe, and leave a review. And if you think someone could benefit from the teachings within this episode, please feel free to share it. Stay tuned next week for another conscious conversation. And as always, thank you so much